All right, seeing that it's 10 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm hoping everyone can access the slide deck in the chat. And I will go ahead and share my screen. All right. Good morning. Welcome to the grant application webinar for the Montana Advanced Opportunities Grant for fiscal year 27. My name is Crystal Smith. I serve as the Opportunities and Innovative Learning Senior Manager at the OPI. And one of my many duties is to help oversee and support districts in the Advanced Opportunities Grant that is funded through state legislation. I want to start this morning by providing some definitions. You will hear these terms over and over again, so just want to level set and ground us in what these mean. The first word or term is the advanced opportunity. This is found in MCA Montana Code to determine or describe anything by the means of a course, exam, experiential or online other learning opportunities. It's incorporated into a district's advanced opportunity plan that is designated to advance each qualifying pupil's or student's opportunity for post-secondary career and educational success. In that definition, you hear the term advanced opportunity plan, which refers to a plan that's adopted by your local board of trustees of a district that provides advanced opportunities for students within the district. And then a term that might be new to you, as this is found within the newest version of the Advanced Opportunity Act, Senate Bill 278, which is the Advanced Opportunity Facilitator, which means an individual that's employed by your school district who coordinates between the school, the students, their families, other institutions, employers, community organizations, industry associations, in order to provide opportunities for students that might not be happening within the walls of the classroom or the school, but actually out in the community. And we'll talk a little bit about that here as we move on this morning. I want to provide you with an overview of what this grant looks like. A lot of people say, well, tell us about the money first and then the details later. So I'm taking that piece of advice to share with you how a district's funding calculation is determined and then how districts spend these funds that they receive. So a district who is qualified for funding is based on a percentage. The amount that they receive is based on a percentage of their classification from the previous total quality educator payment from the year before. So elementary districts are funded at 4.5% of that previous year's total quality educator payment. K-12 districts are funded at 18%, and high school districts are funded at 30%. And these are significant increases that happened, I believe, 2 years ago in the 2023 legislative session in order to provide additional funding for districts that are pursuing these funds in order to help support students. So of the funding that your district or districts, if you're an elementary and a high school district, would receive, at least 75% of those funds have to go to address family out-of-pocket costs as they align to students' interests, passions, strengths, needs, and cultures. And I'll give you some examples as we go through this quick presentation today. And then the remaining funds, so up to 25%, can be split amongst two areas. So the first area is that they can be used to provide CTE courses offered by the district, or in the 2025 legislative session, this idea of an advanced opportunity facilitator came about. So districts could hire or pay part of a salary of someone who is serving as that advanced opportunity facilitator. So making those pathways and connections for students that are in their school district, but being able to pursue academic or industry or work opportunities outside of the school district. So some samples that are found within the bill are provided here. So again, there's up to 70 or a minimum of 75% have to go of these funds have to go to offset family out-of-pocket costs. And here's some very broad examples, and we will be more specific in the slides to come. But I've highlighted, I know there's a lot of text on this slide, but really wanted to highlight the main points of this. So dual enrollment, exam fees that your students might be or families might be asked to pay for, ACT, SAT, CLEP, career placement or advancement, international baccalaureate, or any other type of advanced placement fees that families are paying for. Anything that's dealing with work-based learning, whether that's the fees that your work-based learning providers are accruing due to having students within their facilities. It could be reimbursement for gas or gas cards for students to get themselves to their work-based learning opportunities. It could be the tools and supplies that they need in order to engage in these work-based learning opportunities. And it could be uniforms such as scrubs, hard hats, steel-toed shoes, anything that students are having to pay for in order to experience these work-based learning opportunities. Any other type of exam or other fees that are due to these industry recognized credentialing or licensing opportunities. For example, CNA opportunities, welding certificates, safe serve food licenses. So any of those things that students are earning and then testing into in order to support their post-secondary pathway, these funds can be used to support. And then in the 2023 bill that provided funds for advanced opportunities, you'll see these two other additions. So the cost of participation for qualifying pupils in out-of-school enrichment activities do with the discretion of your board of trustees. So I've had people ask about, well, we have students that want to go to a choir festival over the summer. Can they attend that, right? So if that is a board approved trip or opportunity that your board is willing to use these funds for, that would align well. Some districts have asked about, well, we have students that want to attend a sports camp, right? That's during the summer out of school. Would that work, right? So again, as long as it's in the discretion of your trustees and board approved, then these out of school enrichment opportunities that are student choice that align with their interests, passions, needs, strengths, and culture could be funded through the Advanced Opportunity Grant. And then you see here even a broader category of just a cost of participation for qualifying pupils that are identified as necessary. So we've got some funded districts that have set up actually an application committee. So they take a portion of their district funds that students can apply for. So there's an example of a student that wanted to earn his pilot's license. And so he applied to their school district to be reimbursed at a portion of that cost in order for him to obtain his pilot's license. Obviously not offered within the teacher licensure system or the school system at his district, but it was offered in his community, and that was something that aligned to his interests and strengths. And so the district was able to provide some funding for that student in order to pursue that enrichment opportunity. And then you'll see here at the bottom, 25% for CET course offerings or that advanced opportunity facilitator. So some districts who are funded use the entire 100% to reimburse families and students for their post-secondary pathways. Some districts find a split that works for them, and then other districts are really strong and hold true to the 75% and 25% split. I wanted to provide you with some examples of what specific districts around our state are using these funds for. And these come through the annual report, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So for example, you see our Lee School District, they provided a babysitting course with some certifications for the students that engaged in that. They brought in some specialists who help provide this course, provide the materials free of charge to their students. Sydney is offering a CDL course and the test fees. Libby has partnered with the local Forest Service out in the Kootenai National Forest and provide an outdoor adventure program for their students in the summer and then as well in the winter. Missoula provided some robotics clubs opportunities for their 6th through 8th grade students, the facilitator, the materials, and the opportunities for those students to travel and go compete. Westby has partnered with the Plentywood John Deere service department, and they use the John Deere Academy, which provides coursework materials for the students to engage in becoming certified as a service technician, and then they reimburse their students for the gas in which their students travel from Westby to Plentywood in order to be on site within the facility and learning through a work-based learning opportunity. I'd mentioned the Billings example, flight lessons for a student pursuing a pilot's license. Bainville has a Cooks on Main internship and some culinary projects that students are opting into. Helena has partnered with the University of Montana Bitterroot Job Corps and are providing CNA courses through that partnership. And then Red Lodge, along with many other districts in our state, are using dual enrollment opportunities for students to be reimbursed for textbooks and the test fees in order to earn those dual enrollment opportunities. I spend some time getting emails from districts saying, well, is this an example? Is this a way that we could use our funds? And so I wanted to really provide some examples, some great examples, and then some examples that I hear from the field that really are not non-examples. And I'm not going to read through them. I just want you to have this for a reference. But if you see on the left side of your screen, Montana Advanced Opportunity Grant examples, these are really around students getting a leg up upon graduation to their competition, right? So whether that's going into a trade, a technical field, going into the workforce, helping them earn credentials and certifications that they could go to a future employer and say, you know, I'm certified in CNA, I'm certified in as a welding technician, right? I have spent 30 hours in our local Ford dealership learning and working within the service department. Or students who are headed on a college entrance path, right? So how do we ensure that we provide students with opportunity to maybe test out of courses, go to colleges where they have already earned some credentials and credits in order to go towards their bachelor's or their bachelor's degree, or at least attend college within a leveled up opportunity more than the basic entry level. So I just want to clarify on that left-hand side. Notice you see student a lot. So this grant is really about supporting students in their post-secondary.
After I get done with this Zoom, I'll look. Okay.
Sorry, Meredith, or whoever, if you'd go ahead and mute, that would be fabulous. So the left-hand side is about student interest, right? What do students want to do? What are their passions, strengths, needs, culture? And then using those funds to provide something that wouldn't be provided for them within the traditional educational system or offerings that you currently have within your school district. And then some non-examples, you know, lab fees that are associated with basic education requirements. This grant does not replace or supplement basic education requirements. So, you know, you might have a student that has every freshman in your high school has to take earth science, and that earth science is associated with a $20 lab fee, right? So this is not about using these funds for every student that has to take that class. If you might have a student that is interested in the medical field, and so they have it or are being offered a biology 2 course that then has a lab fee, that would align with an advanced opportunity because it's not a basic education requirement and it aligns with their pathway. Paying salaries that are already required of your staff, consumable for promotion required courses. So I think about like, you know, you might have every 8th grader that has to take a Woods course. And if your district is responsible currently for providing the lumber for that Woods course, those consumables that are required for every student to take would not count as an advanced opportunity. You might have students that are interested in passion projects in 8th grade in their wood shop. And then those passion projects, you could use these funds to provide consumables for students to engage in more advanced woodworking or opportunities. Salary increases, meals for staff, chaperone payments. So really anything that your district is already and or to support, you know, the adults in the system, this grant really isn't intended for. It's really about the families and the students. So hopefully you're still with me and you're still interested and you say, well, how do we apply for this grant? And so there's a couple things that your district needs to have in place before the application window opens. Hence why we're doing this in September. So when the window opens in December, you're ready to apply. The first thing is to submit an application. So you'll see that that application is hyperlinked here. I can go ahead and open it up. Hopefully you can see my screen and it's going to load. You'll notice that the application is pretty basic. So it tells you when the grant opens, when it closes. You can identify who your submitter name is. It might be your authorized representative. It might be, we have some districts that they have a CTE teacher that is going to be their grant manager. Some districts have picked their local clerk to be their grant manager, but there's really no requirement for the submitter or that grant manager. It's simply who I connect with to provide updates, support, and then the reporting next year once a district is funded. The email, and then if you are an LEA that has an elementary and a high school district, you can apply for both of those districts on one application. So you don't have to submit an elementary grant application separate from your high school. And then there's really this opportunity to go through and check these boxes, right? And these are identified on the slide as well. That your school board that has approved it, that you have an advanced opportunity plan, which we talked about in that opening slide. And then you've got a strategic plan that talks about what are you really trying to implement? What are those measurable objectives to make sure that your district is using these funds as according to your initial plan? And then we'll go through those. And then there's a place down here at the bottom for your school board chair to sign. And then your district would attach that strategic plan as you have board approved that really highlights those advanced opportunity offerings. Again, you'll see here, I know there's a lot of text on the screen. I wanted you to have it for your own reference. But the Advanced Opportunities Grant, I've highlighted the important pieces. The Advanced Opportunities Grant is to serving students in grades 6 through 12. So yes, an elementary LEA can apply for this grant, but the funds would actually go to support students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, as well as 9th through 12th grade and higher. These funds should honor your students based on their interests, passions, strengths, needs, and culture, which we've talked about before. Really talking about how do we build and provide community-based learning, experiential learning, online work-based opportunities that can be held either face-to-face or virtual connections. So again, we have a lot of districts that use a Montana Digital Academy, some online coursework if they don't have teachers within their school system to provide these specialized courses for their students. So virtual learning is certainly encouraged and recommended if you cannot provide these opportunities within your teaching staff at your local districts. And then finally, ensuring that there is equality for all students to participate. Not all students has to have the same opportunity, but you should have a wide umbrella of opportunities that all students who are in grades 6 through 12 that are enrolled within your school system can have access to. I want to move on to the reporting piece of it. So once your district has applied, you would receive funding for fiscal year 27. And then once applied, districts submit an annual report in order to receive funding year after year. So once applied, you don't need to apply again. And the annual report is what requalifies you. So I've again hyperlinked the annual report here. We'll go out and I'll show you what that looks like. Again, pretty basic. The annual report is on the calendar year. So you're funded, it's a little bit wonky. You're funded fiscally July 1 through June 30th, but then districts report based on a calendar year, January 1st through December 31st. So you'll see here, the first piece of information is really just identifying who's providing the information, how much funding your district received, and what your expenditures are to date, and the current balance that you have within your advanced opportunity funds. The second place is for your grant manager to go through and identify the measurable objectives. Remember, that was on your district's strategic plan initially in order to apply for this grant, and then the progress made as these funds have helped support that. And then the final piece, as required through legislation, in which I report to both the Board of Public Education and the interim committee, is like, what is your projected growth? What are your needs for the next biennium? And this actually has helped increase. We had districts about 3 years ago saying we want more funding. And so we brought that to the Ed Interim Committee, and those percentages were increased. So We are looking at these and helping support districts based on the needs that they have. Any issues that are reported by your stakeholders, and then a lot of, this is a great opportunity for districts to showcase what they're using these funds for, to help spread the word and really have collaboration around our state and with our school districts, of the opportunities for our students. So if you look online for the Advanced Opportunities website for previous annual reports, you'll see that there are a lot of districts that like to provide graphs, pictures, and really some good high-level summaries of the opportunities that students are receiving based on these funds. Again, your school board chair needs to sign this, and then this is what gets submitted for future years of funding. That window always opens the first Monday in December and closes the second Monday in January. So while I haven't put those exact dates on this presentation, districts that are funded for fiscal year 27, that window for reporting would open then, I believe it's December 7th of 2026, and closes that second Monday in January of 2027. And then my responsibility is to reach out to whoever your grant manager is, remind them of those windows, provide some support and technical assistance in ensuring that all the annual reporting gets completed. Finally, I want to close today with just providing you an overall timeline of this grant. So you'll see here that we're really in this plan and apply for fiscal year 27. This funding is to fund all districts in the state. So previous to this year, it was based on a first come, first serve. Once that window opens, those those applications start coming in. You really have through that entire window this year for fiscal year 27 because there is enough funding to fund every district within our state. So you'll see here that we have right now you should be planning and looking at that application and seeing if this is a good fit for your district and your students. I then take all of the applications that I receive upon review. I present them to the Board of Public Education, and they are the entity that actually approves districts for funding for fiscal year 27. Once that happens, I connect with districts. I send you out a letter with the projected amount of funding, and then I update that letter once we know exactly how much funding your district will receive based on the previous year's total quality educator payment. Funds are deposited prior to October 1st of the year in which you're funded. So that would be October 1st of 2026 for new grantee awards. I see a couple familiar faces and names on here. So districts that are funded in fiscal year 26, those funds should be rolling in any day if they haven't already. I've had a couple districts that have said they have received their funds. So if you're a fiscal year 26 grantee, those you might want to check with your district because you should have those funds within your accounts now, if not here within the next week or less than a week, actually. So once those districts are there, you can start providing opportunities. So again, districts are awarded on the fiscal cycle. So you might actually start spending those funds as of July 1st, 2026. Once you receive those districts, you could go back and you could back pay. But really utilizing these districts, your district's strategic plan to help you decide how you want to prioritize student opportunities, student engagement, and what your district's going to use these funds for. Again, the annual reporting process is what provides your district funding for the following year. So districts that are funded for fiscal year 26 will submit a 2026 annual report. Again, that's on a calendar year. And so understandably so, districts in their first year of being awarded this grant really don't have much to identify and to report on, but some districts do. And so I've had districts reach out and say, we're really concerned. We haven't really spent much of our funds between, October 1st and December when this annual reporting window cycle opens up, and that is okay. But you should have some your measurable objectives and then your progress or anticipated progress towards them that you can communicate for requalification. And then again, we follow that process. So fiscal year 28 requalification happens from the Board of Public Education. And then I identify districts, let them know that they've been qualified. And then that process happens again by that October 1st funding deadline. So with that, I just want to provide you with a few resources. The first one is Senate Bill 278, which currently oversees and provides the funding and the guidelines for the Advanced Opportunities Grant. The Montana Advanced Opportunities website. From there, you'll be able to access the application, an annual report. You'll be able to see previous year's districts' annual reports if you're looking for some ideas about what districts have done, as well as the fiscal allocations, I think all the way back to fiscal year 21. So it might be able to help you project, like, if I'm a Class A district, comparable to the size of Corvallis, what would I anticipate as receiving funds? Again, you can use the breakdowns within this slide deck as well. And then, as always, I am available and happy to help support and answer any questions that you might have, review your application before you submit it, present to a small group of your teachers or your board or whatever I can do to help support and communicate this message of this funding opportunity to support all of our students in our state. So with that, I see we have a few people that joined during the presentation. So I will stop sharing my screen and I am happy to answer any questions that you might have.